Hello everyone, I am Mary Shakkina. I am working as an assistant professor in St.Joseph College of Arts and Science, Cuddalore. In this presentation, I am going to discuss with you about the concept of sequence in SQL. First, let us see what is sequence. A sequence is a user-created database object that automatically generates unique sequential integers. That is, sequence will be created by the user and it is permanently stored in the database. Hence, we call it as database object. And the purpose of sequence is, it is mainly used for generating primary key values. We all know that primary key values should be unique and not null. Hence, sequence can be used to generate the unique sequential numbers which can be used as the primary key values. And sequence can be used in columns of any table, and it is also used without the table. We can use the sequence without the table also. Next, let us see about the key features of sequence. Sequence ensures uniqueness of generated numbers. That is, sequence will generate only the unique numbers. It is highly customizable. We can customize the sequence according to our needs. We can mention the start value, ending value, increment by which value, cycling, caching. Likewise, we can customize the sequence. It is independent of tables, so that sequence once created can be used in any number of tables. It also ensures transaction safety. That is, the values will not be lost in case of transaction failure. This is the syntax of sequence. Create sequence, sequence name, and the options within the square brackets are optional. That is, whenever we needed, we can use it. Otherwise, it is not compulsory. The only line which is compulsory is create sequence, sequence name. Using this one line, we can create a sequence. This is the example for sequence. We are creating the sequence 1, sequence name is sequence 1, and it is going to start with 100 and it will be incremented by 100. The maximum value is 300 and the minimum value is 100. We are mentioning it as cycle and no cache. At the end of this presentation, I will show you practically how to create the sequence. These are the use cases of the sequence. That is, sequence are used to create the primary key values, and it can be also used to create the account numbers, application numbers, transaction IDs, because these numbers are always unique. So, sequence can be used to create in this use cases. It is also useful in financial databases, inventory systems, ticketing, etc. Once the sequence is created, we can use the sequence to update the table rows. And this is the syntax for updating the table rows using sequence. Update table name, set column name is equal to sequence name dot next value. This query will update the table rows. We can also use the sequence to insert new rows into the table. See, in this example, we are inserting the new rows in the table employee 1. We can see the first column, that is S1 dot next value. This is the sequence value. We are going to insert the sequence value in the table rows. I'll show you practically how to insert new rows using sequence and how to update the table rows. And these are the benefits of the sequence. It ensures unique values and maintains integrity. It can be customizable and is independent of tables, and it improves performance in high transaction environments, and the sequences are recommended in designing scalable, reliable database systems. Let us move into the practical session of how to create the new sequence and how to update the table rows, and how to insert the new records into the table name using sequence. First, let us create the new sequence using the query create sequence, sequence name. This is the query to create the sequence. Create sequence, sequence name. and when we run this query, the sequence is created. Now we are creating a new sequence named S1. We can see the created sequence using the query select S1.nextval from dual. Using this query, we can see the created sequence. See here, the sequence starts with 1. Then the next value in the sequence is 2. And the next value is 3. Likewise, the sequence produces the sequential integers, unique integers. See here, it is not repeated 1, 2, 3. It is sequential unique integers. Hence, the concept is sequences used to create unique sequential numbers. We can also see the current value of the sequence using the pseudo columns S1 dot current value. That is, we can see the current value of the sequence using this query. See here, the current value of the sequences is 3. The next value will be 4, but the current value is 3. Now we are going to see about how to update the existing table using sequence. See, I am going to select on the employee table. See here, this is the employee table. Here the employee number column is empty. That is, null values are in employee number. Using sequence which we are created. That is, S1 is the sequence we are created, and using this sequence we are going to update this table with the unique employee numbers. So for that, what we are going to type a query update employee set employee number is equal to S1 dot next value. This query is going to update this table employee number column with the sequence value. See, 5 rows are updated. When we see this updated table, we can see that the sequential numbers are entered in this employee number. Why the number is starting from 4 means we have already seen the 4 numbers. We have already generated the 4 numbers, and from that number itself it enters into the table. We can also insert the new rows into the table using the sequence value. See here, here S1 dot next value is going to insert the next sequence value in the table along with the other values. When I run this query, we can see that 1 row created. Then we can select and see the table. Here 6 rows are selected. This new row, Raja, is newly inserted using the sequence number 9. Likewise, the sequence concept is working. I hope you all understand the concept of sequence. Thank you.